Hello everybody, I'm Arden. Welcome to another episode of Minecraft Enigmatica 2 Expert. Enough excuses. Let's go do the thing I do not want to go do and go kill the Chaos Guardian. Except we're not going to do that quite yet because I'm not quite ready. You see, because I figured out how to do the Draconic Evolution upgrades, and I'm not quite there yet. You see how it says Draconic on the top there, but Wyvern on the bottom? Well, it's because I had a magnesium shortage. But doing the upgrades is simpler than I thought. You basically just have to do each step once. So one basic, one Wyvern, and one Draconic. I had thought that it was more like the old way in the, I want to say it was 1.8 and 1.10 era, where you had to just constantly feed it cores, but no, I'm wrong. It's just each of those steps once per upgrade that you want to add to it. So I'm very nearly there. I just need to go crank out a bunch more cores and add the remaining upgrades to my armor, as well as my mostly unupgraded bow. To try to solve the magnesium problem, there were a couple things I could do. One, I could have tried to create an RF Tools dimension that only has magnesium in it. But that requires luck, time, and devices that we haven't made yet, so that's out for now. Two, I could sieve netherrack and get all the nuclear craft ores from that, I believe. But that requires setting up a netherrack farm and then a sieving system to handle it, and I'm just lazy. Instead, I've opted to just drop my digital miner out in random spots, power it up briefly, set a filter to only look for magnesium, and press the start button and see if any exists. And if it does, we'll pump it out. So I'm getting roughly 30 to 50 a time per trip through there, but we're quadrupling it, so it goes pretty far. I should have enough shortly to finish up what I need though. Alright, so I've got a good chunk of this upgraded. I'm waiting on some more materials to process, but I've got the armors all done, as well as the bow. I also made 3 capacitors, but I have to upgrade these and to finish upgrading the Staff of Power. But I figured in the meantime we'd make another piece of equipment while we're waiting for the pieces that I'm going to want to be able to break the towers with. And that's a T-Con plus laser, because this shoots through walls and can hit the target, so we don't even have to break the cage. We just need to do enough damage to blow it up. So as you can see, this can see through walls to see targets, and is a hit scan weapon, so it just hits things as if it's in melee, which means it can hit things like Endermen because it's technically a melee and not a bow. So while it might not be as obscenely overpowered as the Draconic Awakening bow, it just constantly fires and spews out damage everywhere, it gets the job done. I'm now also out of lithium in addition to magnesium. Everything's okay. Everything's fine, I swear. I swear. Perfectly natural and okay. Alright, I distressingly think that I'm ready. I didn't completely upgrade the Staff of Power because I realized I'm not going to be using this to shatter the cages on the pillars. That's what the laser's for, so I didn't bother. And I'm bringing 2 other things. One's the Draconic Evolution Dislocator. So this I already had. I must have gotten it out of a chest at some point and I just forgot I had it. It's super useful. It's a personal teleporter. You'll shift and right click down and it brings up a general menu. This fuel right here is ender pearls, and you just click add fuel to do this. It'll add 1 pearl at a time. Shift click it and it adds, I want to say it's a full stack. So it basically uses 1 pearl per teleport. You can then set up to 100 different waypoints. Right now I have the home and the end. I just click the end to target it, and because I've got this on my hotkey bar, I can just right click teleport immediately. And this is my escape device in case I get in trouble and at least notice that I'm in trouble. It'll allow me to just bounce out back to here, back to my base. The other thing I'm bringing in are a whole bunch of Supremium apples because I'm not bringing buffs with me. I'm using this, it will give me buffs, but I'm using this to be auto-eaten by my armor, so that it will heal me up potentially. Reality is, this probably isn't going to help at all. It's almost going to be all my shield. All the shield and all of the ability to not die from my battery. But as a reminder, there is this auto feed option that turns it on, and anything that's in your bar, you'll eat. So terrifyingly, I think I'm just about ready to go. I'm going to do one last thing, and that's shut everything down, reboot my computer, back up my save, and then we will go try. Because this thing scares the bejesus out of me, even though I've watched the fight a couple times elsewhere and I've read up on it plenty. This could still ruin my run pretty badly if I have to do a corpse recovery on this though. So let's just try to avoid that and hope things go okay. Alright, so I'm here and I almost flew straight over it on the way in, so that was kind of terrifying. But I think we are just about ready to get going on this, even though it scares the bejesus out of me. So hello folks, this is Editor Art here, and I realized Creator Art didn't actually explain this fight at all before we went into it. I didn't start the video here at the exact beginning because I was just fumbling with the controls and just kind of scared of the dragon, but it turns out it's not that dangerous as long as you have fully upgraded armor and just don't stop moving. But you see as I'm lasering these, there's a big red beam of light coming out of them. It's because, it turns out, my T-Con laser was not remotely strong enough to break these in a single shot. So that red beam means they're turning invulnerable for a second because they didn't get one shot. So I have to actually go through this loop twice and blow all of them up. And because I didn't upgrade the staff power, I can't just shatter the cage with that, and it was just kind of a big, tedious mess. But don't worry, worse mistakes are here to come yet. So because of that, I think I'm going to skip ahead, because until these are destroyed, much like the End Dragon, it's invulnerable. And to be clear, one of the mistakes I made was filming this in the wrong resolution. As you can see, the health bar is off-center, and you can't see my health bar or UI at all. Although for part of the fight, I had the UI turned off, which was one of the mistakes we made. But as you're going to see, another mistake you're going to see is very shortly here, my bow's going to stop firing. And that's because I ran out of power. But I ran out of power because I was an idiot. Because that was me eating, because I was running out of shields. But let's skip ahead about 20 seconds to the point where my armor ran out of power and I fell out of the sky to the point where slow fall triggered and kept falling straight into the void, which thankfully I had a void charm, but this caused me to teleport out. Woo, that could have been bad, and thankfully I noticed and didn't get hit all that much. I didn't have my capacitors turned on. You have to shift right click them and to toggle their mode, and they were not charging anything. My armor ran out of power. So that was scary. Didn't notice till I started falling out of the sky though. Woo! Almost didn't record the ending on accident. Turned out to not be too bad though. And now to get the Chaos Crystal that I came here for. As soon as I break this, I have 30 seconds to get out of here, and the island's gonna explode. And boom, we did it. That actually didn't turn out to be too bad. I mean, the main trick is just don't stop moving, more than anything. Turns out my laser didn't have enough damage to actually one-shot the crystals, which is why I had to circle around so much at the start there, because they kept getting the shield that would stop them from being damaged. But let's go do the most important next step and replicate these bad boys, because this is how you get more. We don't ever have to fight the Chaos Dragon again in this pack. Well, I guess while we wait for that to scan in, we probably should, I don't know, fill out the last 4 items here so that we can finish up. And none of these should be all that hard at this point. We're not actually going to build the reactor, we'll just make the pieces for it though. But let's start over here with Draconic Power Transfer, which is just 3 items. All of which is just going to be fusion crafting nonsense for the most part, but all of it should be pretty easy, assuming I have enough magnesium and lithium. Alright, and the last step of this does require something new though. It does require these particle generators, but they're just an easy combine. But it means we have this done too. Now we should make this remaining tool, because I of course didn't make the hoe at all when I came through here. But it's also really simple, we just need to make an awakened core. This should be needless to say, but I will not be applying draconic upgrades to this hoe. Alright, time to make the chaotic core, which should unsurprisingly requires just a bunch of awakened cores and a chaos shard. While I was waiting for the awakened cores to cook, I went back and looked at what the chaos injectors would take. And this is all easy, except it requires a dragon egg. Now, we can fabricate a dragon, but I don't actually have the egg chunks to do this with, because I don't have the essence. But I did have several scales, and I already used them to make dragon eggs in my grid power lab, and I don't actually need this as power, so I think I'm just going to pop an egg off of this and call that good. Alright, first up, the chaotic core. And now for the chaotic injector. Alright, almost done. Now all we need to do is make the reactor core, which is just a bunch of ingots and a chaos shard. And a whole lot of power. Oh hey, you might think I would realize that I would notice though this is tier chaotic, which means we need another 6 of the chaos ones. So this is going to take a little bit. I need to go get some more materials, I think. Alright, so while I'm waiting on the chaos injectors, which require a whole lot of materials, I did 2 things. 1, I automated crushed netherrack to my civ farm to get those materials, because I'm going to need more of them than I'm going to want to actively farm. 2, I'm respawning ender dragons, because I need to automate getting the eggs, because I don't need them for more than just the injectors, I actually need them for endgame recipes, so now is as good a time to farm them as any. Alright, so I've got all of the pieces together for the Dragon Essence Seed, and it's the right constellation. I had to attune another Celestial Crystal to this one, but other than that, this was actually pretty easy now that I have the Dragon Scales. We do also have to make the Dragon Eggs Crux to be able to make this, but this isn't all that hard, it's just a bunch of diamonds and more scales. Alright, so I have Dragon Egg material rolling in now. I put it next to my Awakened Draconium one, and I figured I'd do another bonus quest while we continue to wait for materials to roll in. In this case, rolling all the way back to the Getting Started segment where we never made the Awakened Draconium Sharpening Kit, which is made from the cores and not the ingots. You just do it over here in the part builder, and it just takes 2 of them. I'm not entirely sure what the point of this is at this point, especially since I have the Staff of Power, but that's one more step done. In this last one is the Chaotic Sharpening Kit, which requires 2 Chaotic cores, which, again, I'm waiting on materials for, so maybe we'll get that done yet. Alright, so I've got the 7 Chaotic Injectors to make the reactor, so here we go. And now we have the reactor done. But I'm not actually going to make this reactor. I'm not entirely scared of it blowing up my whole base, which is what its main thing that it does is, because I can put it in a compact machine. What we're actually saving this for is to make the tier 6 solar array from environmental tech. So it's got a use. We could make another one, but I'm not going to bother. Alright, and the last thing, I made the last 2 chaotic cores I need to upgrade my pick. And there we go, upgraded all the way to chaotic. But the most important part of this is that means we are done with getting started, finally, and we're done with Draconic Evolution. Let's grab these loot chests and see how much garbage we get. Food? Really? Growth accelerators? I've only made hundreds of those. Shulker shells, which I have in the thousands. Launch pad for the rocket we no longer need. Free mana dust. Razor wire, or I have no idea why I would use this. And more free wireless crystals that I don't need at this point. So, all in all, pretty much garbage, but that's what to be expected now that we are pretty much at the end of the pack. We now have almost all of the prerequisites for the creative tank, and more importantly, we have completely finished 2 more chapters, making us almost all the way through the pack now. So this was a long one for me because it took quite a bit of time waiting for materials this time, which I normally don't do, but it was absolutely worth it. We are so close to the finish line now, folks, it's not even funny. I mean, realistically, we still have a couple months to go, probably just cleaning everything up, but the hard parts are done for the most part. So, if you found this episode interesting and entertaining, please consider leaving a like or subscribing if you're new. As always, I'm Ard. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.